welcome to the Austrian Tyrol. It's the fourth stop on the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup Tour. The final race weekend pre-Christmas. We are above the double Olympic city of Innsbruck for an early morning start to proceedings on this December Friday. We start with men's skeleton, women coming up this afternoon, and 18 sleds from 10 nations in today's race. Well, hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Joining us, hopefully on the line from home in New York State, is John Morgan. And John, this Innsbruck track familiar to all of our sliders? Start record from Alexander Chechikov. The Russian not here this weekend though. He and Nikita Chegabov and Russia's top two female skeleton sliders have headed for a week's training in Altenburg prior to this year's World Championships, which comes up in February. Upper labyrinth, absolutely critical to keeping your speed down through the Kreisel. Then here, another key part of the track, the run down into the lower labyrinth. Speeds here in 75 mile-an-hour range. Chin on the ice, desperately trying to hold the sled on line across the finish line at the end of 1,220 fast meters of ice. But of course, they were racing here last week, so anybody who even last week was racing here for the first time has a little more knowledge than they would normally bring to a race weekend. It's unusual, apart from a World Championships, to have a double race weekend at any track. And normally, certainly for skeleton sliders, even if the World Championships are 2 weeks long, you only race for a week of it. Well, Martis Ducors, our World Cup points leader, 3 wins so far this season, both of the Latvian races and here last week. Alexander Gasner lies in second place, 1 podium visit for him, 1 for Nikita Chegabov, 1 for Thomas Ducors, 1 for Felix Kaisinger, a win for Alexander Trechikov, and 1 podium visit as well for Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. So 25 sliders so far have started races this year, and we have a little bit more of a change in the lineup. As I said, the top 2 Russian male and female sliders have gone for training in Altenburg, and as a result we'll have a couple of replacements, but they are well-known faces. Well, air temperature hovering just below freezing. It's a little bit overcast, fairly clear day. Forecast for the weekend is good. Should be no repeat of last weekend's snow and blustery conditions. Didn't snow very much, but the wind was blowing the snow in off the trees. Just saw Christopher Grote here, the reigning world champion. There is Ronald Oderset of Switzerland. He'll be one of our first sliders away. Mihail Naki of Romania will be first off, followed by Jerry Rice and Ronnie Oderset. Then we get into the top 10 in the World Cup rankings. They're in a random draw. Martin Ducors goes off 12th ahead of the world champion. And we finish our field with Yevgeny Rukoshwev of Russia. Ready to get the 4th race of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup underway here in Innsbruck in Austria. Sebastian Inaki of Romania, 22-year-old, making his 2nd World Cup start this season. His teammates did the 2 races in Sigulda. It's only his 6th World Cup race. And his best 16th place in Koenigsegg in January this year. That was the end of last season. Nice looking run into the upper labyrinth. And you can hear from the crackle of the runners on the ice what a long, cold week it has been here. Temperatures have barely got above freezing, and that's really good news for ice conditions. It is going to be fast and slick. Nice fresh spritz on the track, little spray of water that gives it that polished perfection. Good speed, 117.8. We'll probably see 120s at the bottom of the track, and across the line, 53.41 for Mihail Naki. And Mikhail with a 5:03 start, so we will see how others compare to that. Start record dates back to the World Championships in 2016, and it is a 4:72. See lots of tap dancing there just to get the exit right. Watch that left toe dragging. That's the exit of corner 9, coming down to short shoot into turn 10. And that's really key for speed. So Mikael Inaki, first man down the ice. Hard to read what he thought of that. Let's take a look at Jerry Rice. Second World Cup start for Jerry as well. Wasn't in Sigulda, was at home with wife Jenny and their little baby daughter Rhea. Florian Grassel overseeing proceedings at the top of the track. So let's see what Jerry's got. 5:03 the start for Mikael Inaki. 5:04 for Jerry Rice. Well, he only arrived in Innsbruck at the beginning of last week, has done no racing, 1 or 2 weeks of pre-season before going back home to spend time with the family. 300s behind the Romanian. And Jerry sliding on the British Blackrock sled. So down through the exit of corner 9, nice straight line down into turn 10. And better speed so far than we've seen from Mikael Inaki. He's got about a kilometre an hour in hand. Good morning, John Morgan. How are you?
Good. Nice to see Jerry Rice get back on the ice, huh?
Yep, Jerry back here for Innsbruck. The way that the season is working this year, he takes the lead with a 53.28. The way the season is working, it's not quite so critical for points leading into the Olympic Games as it might otherwise be. So a lot of teams, and the British among them, are using the opportunity to cycle different younger athletes into the program and get them some more race experience.
Well, he's always one of the best starters in the field, and you know, this is his first weekend out. I'm sure he's happy to be back on the ice.
Yeah, no blood this time either.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Switzerland's Ronnie Oderset, 31 years old. Well, we saw Mikael Inaki making his 6th World Cup start. This is Ronnie's 43rd World Cup start. Last week, finished in 13th place, and that is a career high, not just here at Innsbruck, but in his World Cup results. So, John, that's the kind of thing that gives an athlete a real boost going into a second week at the same track.
Personal best, Martin. It's always about PBs. Doesn't matter what sport it is. You might not win a medal, but if you come out and post a personal best, especially you've been on the tour as long as this guy. Martin, isn't he one of the guys that's too smart to be in the sport? Isn't he an engineer or something?
He is an engineer, exactly right. 495 getaway, 2300s up on Jerry Rice.
Well, obviously some good improvement, but this is like his 4th full season on the tour, at least, with that many starts.
Exactly
Don't
right.
see him on the North American circuit as much, but maybe he's full committed here. But
well, like all the Swiss sliders in bobsleigh and skeleton, he's got a real job as well, so he has to try and combine that. It's a good-looking run.
Yeah. Again, we promote Innsbruck. It's a very easy track to get down. It's a very difficult track to get down fast. And
heard a little whoop from Ronnie there as he came into the finish area, and that's not necessarily because it's quite so intimidating. I think he's happy with that. 53.04.
That's the most imposing finish of any track that they go to, Martin. Flipping around on those cushions, but you know, here's going into the labyrinths out of exit 10. He didn't want to scrape the wall like that. That's before curve 11, 12, 13, the labyrinths. You gotta be perfect on this track.
So 53.04 first run. Last week he did a 53.55 and a 53.34. So the ice is absolutely running a lot faster. Next up, Florian Auer, local hero. 9th place finish last week for Florian. And again, that was a career equaling high. He had a 9th place in St. Moritz in 2019's January race.
How about 2016 when him and his brother were competing, and his father, a former multiple world champion?
Yeah, Dad decided he'd take them on in the start and tore his hamstring.
Yeah, tore his hamstring.
Yeah.
And that was in this the old-timers race, and he limped around for the next 10 days. He was one of the executives on the World Championships and limped around for the next 10 days.
Yeah, no fool like an old fool is what his son said.
Well, look like he's, you know, Florian's sticking with it. 14th, 11th, and 9th in 3 starts. And of course, if there's ever a time for him to post personal bests, it would be on this track. Of course, there's no Canadians here, no Americans here, no Chinese. What do you think the Chinese are doing?
No Koreans.
Well, what do you think the Chinese are doing?
Chinese are doing exactly what you would be doing in their position. Yeah, plenty of trips down. 52.89, so he dives down into the lead. Big height in the final corner. That was interesting. And use that just to accelerate down.
I don't know.
But it worked.
That was, well, he's 1500ths ahead for sure.
Yeah. Came from behind, went in front. So, yeah, something working there. The Austrians always have a bit of a shortcut here. So 52.89.
This little brush here, it's not an optimum line, and this is into 8, which sets you up for everything. That's out of the Kreisel. Well,
yeah, last week it was the Exeter 9 that was causing problems. This week looks like Exeter Kreisel is a little different on race day. Next up, Vladislav Heraskevich, the 21-year-old Ukrainian. 27th World Cup start. Seems like only last week that we saw him for the first time. But last week was his best Innsbruck result. World Cup best is still an 8th place finish from La Plania in January of this year. So finished in 14th last week.
Yeah, he needs the longer tracks. Oh, boy, there's a mishap in the, right off there. He's still good. Gathers himself. There's his dad. Just doesn't get the starts, Mark. You know, you got to have a start in this track. Although that's the, 508's decent, but you know, this guy got starts. We know he's a good glider. He can come down the track. He's got great form and technique, and I wonder how far along he is in his university studies, Mark, because he's still been going to school in this 3-year career, right?
Yeah, University of Ukraine in Kiev. I think he's studying engineering as well. Sliding on a Duco sled.
Yeah, he's lost some time back from the lead at the start. A little drift out of 9. Good lines in 10. Look at the feet. Look at the form. I mean, he's got good technique. You know,
not too far shy on speed and across the line. Third place at the moment.
14th in last week's event on this track, but had a top 10 up there in Sigulda, which, boy, that was some beautiful pictures and racing up there from Sigulda, Martin.
Yep.
Oh, look at this little mishap here. Up, you know, came back a little too far, but gathered himself. And of course, you got the clock up there. You got 30 seconds to start, so he could readjust, but. And the launch, look at his head come up. Yeah, let's look at the head come up, watch the hands come by, get into the bullet form, and go and take a nice thrill-seeking ride to the bottom.
So first 5 sleds are down, and Florian Auer leads from Ronald Orderset.
Beautiful about that leaderboard. 6 different countries in that leaderboard, Martin. I love seeing different flags up there like that.
Next up, 23-year-old Felix Kaisinger from Germany, 11th last week. His best here, 7th place in January's race. Last week, a really loose first run left him in 12th position, and not much he could do about it.
Yeah, Martin, he started off with a silver medal up there at the first event in Sigulda, so everybody thought this was going to be a breakout season for him. I mean, he's a great starter. He's had the great results. Junior world champion, correct? Isn't he a junior world champion?
Yeah, he is.
Look at the lead, 4,100.
Yeah, his real problem is his first heat. He's always so nervous, so tight, so anxious to do well that he just is not relaxed enough on the sled, and he knows it, and it's starting to become more and more of an issue.
Yeah, 4100's at the 4100's up there near the curve 9, and it's lost all the way back to 1900. So, you know, the Innsbruck track last week ate him alive. Here, you know, it's not a bad lead, but I don't think that's going to be enough for top 5.
No, it's a little better.
A little loose here on the exit of 9. Look how high, too high early. Watch him come down, and look, I see him. Watch the great pictures here from the truck. Now watch him come back up in the outlet here. A little late, so too high early. I call it centrifugal force got him, Martin. You call it a different word, but
no, you're right.
See the skid here. You know, a little skid here, and that's 4100s at that point, 1900s at the bottom. That curve 9 might have got him.
Next up, Daniel Romanov. Now, this is his 4th World Cup. Joined the World Cup Tour in Sigulda, so he's done all 4 races this season. And John, I'll give you 5 seconds to figure out why this kid is on the team.
You mean the little green thing on the right that's going to say the fastest start? Oh, my God.
There you go.
Is that what you're talking about? I mean, if there's ever a time to showcase the start, this is it. I saw him last weekend, Martin.
Yeah, since Tretyakov came along, they've always been looking for those fast starters, haven't they? They had Tretyakov, Tregibov, and Romanov is the latest in that generation. But he looks a little more polished than Alexander Tretyakov did when we very first saw him on tour.
Martin, we saw him on tour like 2004 or 5, long time ago for Tretyakov, and he's still in the race.
Yep.
And these still green numbers here for this young Russian. Head up, 2100s. That's big time.
Yep.
He's going to have the lead.
Building his advantage.
I mean, this is
well, last week he had an 8th place finish.
2500s.
Yeah. Another week here. On. Yeah.
Hello.
So
I mean, this is.
It's that 2 weeks of training thing, isn't it? It really makes a difference in the second week. Of course, it makes a difference for everybody else, but the less experience you have, maybe the more you gain out of it.
Martin, how many times we say the guy with the fastest start usually has the chance to be the fastest at the bottom? What did he just do? I mean,
sure doesn't hurt.
It doesn't. You have to be a physics major to figure out how important the start time is on this track. Look at the lines. His feet are apart a little bit there in the exit, but head up quite a bit, Martin. And they're going on the exit into 8. From Kreisel into 8 sets him up for 9. Tap there in the crossover. I'm making all these critical remarks of his run, but he is the leader.
Well, next up is Alexander Gassner. Took the bronze medal in the World Championships at Altenburg in February. I'm sure he is salivating at the chance to go back and try and take another medal. 5th place here last week.
Start, wow. It's a lot of start to overcome on this track. This speed part, so he's 1900s back. It's going to go out to 25 or 30 here probably at the next clock. I mean, that's the persona of the track, 39, even worse. Martin, he can only hope to, even you were saying it last week, to stop the bleeding. Second best speed, that's encouraging, 43. So he stopped the bleeding. So he's going to start to eat into this deficit, and he'll get it down to 20 or 25, but pretty tough to make a comeback when you got a start deficiency. Best speed. 28, here he comes. He might get it.
Classic German sliding.
Yeah. Perfect form. Teens, 13, 21.
Only,
okay.
400s ahead of his teammates. So the Germans are very tightly balanced on their FES sleds, but they're not going to be in the top 3 at the end of the run. Yeah, you can read his body language quite clearly.
Yeah, the start, I mean, it's... they're talking about the start. Look at his first. I don't like the way his knee jumped on there first. I like it when they sort of hit the sled in unison.
I guess the ideal is a swallow dive where you lead with your chest and everything else follows.
Yeah. Look at the eyes. Look at those eyes. Beautiful pictures. Really good.
So Alexander Gassner lying in 2nd place behind Daniel Romanov. Next up from Cortina d'Ampezzo is Mattia Gaspari. Mattia, 27 years old now. And John, just before the last Winter Games, he had an Achilles injury, and so he's been out for a couple of good seasons. Took a bronze medal in the World Championships. We had the mixed team event, a one male, one female slider, and he was in the bronze medal winning team.
Yeah, they were the first sleds to go down the track, him and his Italian teammates, and I love that medal that they had last year. Martin, he's from Cortina, Italy. He's 27 years old. Can he hang on for 6 more years? If you think of Trechikov and Dukars, you know, I'm sure his eyes got real big when Cortina got awarded that bid.
Well,
Cortina
and not
Milan.
just him either. It's a family affair, because his sister was racing in Cortina last weekend in World Cup snowboard. So his younger sister is a potential Olympian for the family in Milan Cortina as well. Can you imagine that? Proud mama and papa.
Yeah, wow. Martin, you and I both know, we can't wait to get back to Cortina.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Oh, such a spectacular setting. Yeah, he's just
entirely
buying
happy
time.
with that run.
Well, you know, when
He's
you're
just getting his fitness back, Mattia.
Achilles, torn Achilles. I did, you know, I tore my Achilles up in 15, had the surgery. A little older than my Italian friend here, but that's not because of the Achilles hitting the wall there, Martin. And then as he hits the setup into 8-9, start deficiency, second run. But the two of them count. They count together.
Yep. Now here is young Matt Weston from Great Britain, 23 years old. Last week, he was in 4th position here in the race in Eagles, his World Cup best result. And this is his 5th World Cup start. So his 3rd this year. Beg your pardon, his 4th this year. He's done all, he did the previous 3 races. So Matt currently lying in 7th in the World Cup standings in his rookie season.
What sport did he come from, Martin?
Comes from rugby.
There you go, baby.
So 487 start.
Probably a sevens player. Looks like that size. He's definitely a winger or an outside center.
Yeah.
1600s back. 4th place last week, Martin. Great first heat he had. And couldn't put the second heat together to medal, but hey, that's the learning experience when you're a rookie on tour. Put yourself at a chance to win a medal, and you falter, but you'll remember the experience. This looks like a
second
top 3
best
run,
speed.
Martin.
Yeah.
3rd there, but 18 should get 2100s back. He can stay within the Germans. Look at this, only 11 back.
Getting close.
This is another good run.
Getting close. Romanov still has the lead at the line. Yes, he does.
That's a good comeback. It's up there. Good speed, Martin, on the bottom of the track.
Yep. Yep. And he's not a sort of tall, heavy athlete either. He's quite a lot shorter than Romanov, carrying less weight.
He's a winger for sure in rugby. We'll have to ask him if we ever get a chance to get on site. But speed, Gassner with the deficient start had the best speed. Our home track. Matt Weston, this is impressive. Rookie guy like this, Martin.
Yeah.
You know, this track allows no mistakes.
Hi everyone back at home. Woo, miss you.
You can tell he's British.
Yep. Well, next up, we talked about, you know, Mattia Gaspari. Can he survive another 6 years? Thomas Ducours is 39, Gaspari's 27. So there is mileage, definitely, if you keep at it. Finished in 10th last week. Yeah, but you see, again, you know, talk to Martins after the race. They're still testing. They've got 2 sleds, and they test 2 different sets of everything in every race. It's not about Innsbruck. It's about the Worlds, and effectively, this is still building up for Beijing.
So one of the oldest, I think he's the oldest competitor in the field. He's probably the tallest competitor in the field, too. But Martin,
and the most experienced.
The first ever skeleton race we did from Sigoldo, I think it was 2003. He came from 13th place to 1st, won the first event, but It's unbelievable. He's still out here sliding. Wow. We're talking 17, 18 years of sliding here.
Exactly right. This is his 130th World Cup start since 2006, which is as far back as we've got accurate records for.
Well, you got some good research, Martin. I don't know who you pay to do your research, but they're doing a great job. 3,200 back.
Yes. Yeah, 5th place at the moment. You know, we've still got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sliders, maybe. You know, that's kind of top 10.
Yeah, you know, he's 10th last week, you know, in this track. This is not a place where he's successful because he doesn't get the great start like his brother. He just knows how to do it. I mean, look at little skid there. But
he's had a slew of podium finishes here, but not in the last 3 or 4 years.
I mean, we talk about Gaspari hurting himself. How do these guys stay fit, these Dukas brothers?
Well,
they're always on the line.
Yeah, don't know what they have for breakfast, but the Latvian bobsledders are just the same. Daniel Romanov, our leader, after the first 10 sleds. Next up, wearing the vest of our World Cup leader is our World Cup champion and the winner of the first 3 races of the season, Martin Stucurs. I said last week he's got quite an exceptional record here. He has now won 12 straight races here, including the World Championships. So that's 11 World Cup races plus a World Championships, undefeated.
You know, just looking at the stats, he's first, and first. How many years has he been slide too? I mean, and they're fit. They don't get hurt. You hear about people with injuries and hamstrings and Achilles. And this guy just comes out every week. He's got the yellow jersey on. Goes down. Look at the bullet form. Look at the form. I mean,
yeah, but look at the time compared to Romanov. Coming back to Romanov, he started 600s behind.
Watch out for the speed in the left. Look at the
out.
speed.
Yeah.
Look at that speed. This is going to be 400 or 500s. The next green already. Here he comes. He'll get this out to double digits. Look at this. Well, the speed fell off a little bit, though. Maybe not double digits. 200s. Yeah, Martin, he must have made a mistake out of curve 9 or 10. Because he had the best speed there at a 9, and when he got down in the Labrits, it was the 3rd best speed. So he went red numbers to green.
We'll find that he's tried something different with the runners. And this is, again, it's a unique opportunity. You did something last week, so you do something different every day in training this week and try and race something different. And you know what they always say, John, you learn more by losing than by winning. But, you know, that's what they're doing here. They are testing every single run of the track. It's not about whether they win today, but still.
Look at that. He's
again, look at the form.
Kilometer down. He's the only guy that got to 102 kilometers on the exit of Kreisel. But he lost. He made a mistake someplace, Martin. He made a mistake. How many times do we say that about Martin Stucurs?
Well, his mistakes are so tiny that it takes an expert to see them.
Yeah.
Next up, Christopher Groothair, our world champion from Altenburg in February. 28 years old, he finished 6th last week.
This track's not Altenburg. Yeah, that's his home track. Start, you know.
So he's our reigning world champion. Reigning world champion, he's had 1 World Cup win and 2 other podiums.
Well, he had a good day.
Yeah.
Suspect that line
2
there.
good days.
16 to 18, that's not bad, or 11 to 18. Stays about 2,500s back at the next clock. He's got a chance to get out. That's good right there, and only 19. Best speed, look at that. So he could get this into, here it comes, still holds at 19. Gonna need the best speed in the bottom here, Martin, to post the top 3. And he's got the best speed in the bottom. High there, though, to the average. 17. Ooh, he's almost off his sled. Martin, his mistake, he was wrong on the exit of curve 10. 2,200s back. Martin, he had everything going for him. He got too high in curve 10. And then that set him up bad. Ooh, and he just hit hard there. But he, late in 10, crossed over, he tapped before 11, and he almost fell off the sled in 12.
Yeah. And that's where you see all the mistakes. it comes off, or you fall off in 12, but it all starts in 10. So skidding
this
down
is the third
here,
best speeder. Now watch, he's coming over to the right side of the straightaway, which means he comes into 10 late. Look, he comes over, he's on the wrong side in the entry to 10. Then he's late there, and he's late here on 11, and over in the crossover of 12. He made it exciting.
Yeah.
But he's hanging
he
was
on
the
there,
top
isn't
3.
he?
Yeah, top 3 or 4, and he threw that away.
Well, he is 22 hundredths back. Next up, Sammy Kaiser of Switzerland, 22-year-old carpenter. He's done 3 junior world championships, and we first met him in the world championships in Altenburg in February. But this is his World Cup rookie season, only his 4th World Cup start.
Boy, his start time is 32 hundredths. That's going to be out to about 50 hundredths at the next clock. You know, we're talking hundredths of seconds. So he's going to have to work on his start to get competitive. 68 hundredths. Wow. He could lose by a second here in this run, Martin, at this pace.
Last week, 19th place. If he completes both runs, he will still have a personal best in Innsbruck.
Problem on their exit of 9 also. Pretty good in 10. 11. Second back, like we thought. 11th best speed. Coming with some decent speed. You know, he had the 13th best speed of 9. He got it down to 11. 14th. Well, he had the 14th best start, Martin, and he's got the 14th best finish. The guy in the lead has got the best start, and he's got the best finish time. So
it wasn't that straightforward last week because the conditions were a little tricky, a little different in training. They had 1 day of training last week. This week, everybody's a bit more dialed in.
Yeah, he's not dialed in here. Late here off the Kreisel, comes over, taps the ball. You're trying to slingshot effect out of there, and he came over and wrapped the wall. Then he's late into, look at the curve 8, wrong side of the take on there. Extra steering, you know, so that mistake he made up in Kreisel, he still finally corrected himself, and he's not even correct here. So you make a mistake up in Kreisel, it haunted him for another 200 meters.
Yeah, late into 10 as well. That made the lower labyrinth a nightmare. Next up, Sammy Meyer of Austria, 7th place in last week's race. And that was his first World Cup start of this season. That was also his career World Cup high. So 21 years old. Brother Benny will be racing in the bobsled races on Saturday and Sunday. And sister-in-law Elizabeth races this afternoon for Canada.
So this is Uncle Sammy Meyer, right?
Yeah. 21-year-old, he's an uncle already.
Uncle, and his sister-in-law's racing this afternoon. Who's going to watch the kid? I mean, it's a family affair.
Yeah, Rita's over from Canada as well, so she came over with Lizzie and baby Hendricks. Yeah.
Cool. And we have the our brothers, and you know, the Florian and their father, and, you know, the Ducars brothers. And
it is such a small,
family.
It's a small business, and it's a
family affair, you know.
Best speed so far for Sammy Meyer.
This is pretty good.
He's killing them at the bottom.
Excellent speed. This is excellent. The start's always suspect.
Wow.
That's excellent. Wow, that's great. So
12th best start, 4th at the finish line.
I think Sammy's starting to figure it out.
There you are, first your Volvo of the weekend, John, and we're already.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's
12th
pretty
at the
good,
start,
you know?
4th at the line. That was a good drive. And there were mistakes again, early off the Kreisel.
Best speeds. You know what? He's coming late in the heat. Not that I think the weather conditions are absolutely perfect, but look at the speed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
3rd fastest his teammate Florian Auer as well. So
it's probably because he's so fast. It's probably because there's his dad. There's the dad.
yeah.
I mean, you know, he works for the IBSF as the sport coordinator. And
next up then, is Manuel Schwerzer. Martin Stuckel's the leader. Manuel Schwerzer, 24-year-old Italian, 17th last week. That was his World Cup best as well. There were a lot of PBs last week here in Innsbruck.
Love the PBs. That's what drives all these athletes. A lot of them know that my personal best on this track's at 12th. And my goal is to finish in the top 10. That's the, some athletes realize that I'm not coming out here and have a chance to beat Dukars or, or some of the others, but I can post a personal best. And, and Martin, this is not a team sport, it's an individual sport, so that's why PBs have such an important, element in the sport.
And it is just you against the ice track, so it's all about being better than you were yesterday.
And the old days, it's man against the mountain or ladies against the mountain. You get to the start, and I'm going to beat the mountain up, and you get to the bottom, and you say, I made it. Oh, by the way, what was my time? So your first thing is, ooh, look at this.
Yeah.
It's spectacular. It's not spectacular for the athletes, but for viewers to see those guys try and stop themselves. Exit of 9, usual great pictures from our team. I don't know if this is the perfect exit. Look at the spray of the runner tips on the bottom here. You see some spray? Not bad, but he crosses over. So that's not a straight line. A little bit of a tap. On this track, hands on the hips. But hey, nice to see him out here. It's hundreds. I've been doing luge commentary last week, Martin. There was a tie in luge to the 1,000th of a second. I couldn't believe that.
Well, Nathan Crumpton makes his second World Cup start for American Samoa now. And last week had a big crash, and the doctor forbade him for having a second heat because he'd hit his head in the outrun. World Cup best, 5th place in Park City back in 2016 when he was sliding for the USA.
American Samoa, they had an Olympic bobsled team. I got to think what year, maybe 94 into Lillehammer. A couple American guys with some ancestry. And Nathan must have some kind of contact, but figures he wasn't going to make the American team, and he was there. Martin, wasn't he at the World Championships in 16 here?
He's competed in World Cup, World Championships for the USA, but wanted to go his own way. As you said, it's a very individual sport, and he wanted to be his own boss, basically, and that's exactly what he's doing. So 13th best start, 13th on the splits.
Yeah, he had some decent results when he first came out, Martin, too. Good track and field athlete. And
then he got injured.
Second back.
So 100th behind Manuel Schwerzer. He's sliding a Bromley sled, so that's another part of the equation, is getting used to the sled. Last year he had to go and race in the lower categories to earn his position back in the World Cup, because it's not a given. If you change nation, you don't keep the spot from your previous nation. But he's based here in Innsbruck this winter.
Exit here, head up. Wasn't perfect in the Kreisel. The line looked a little inconsistent. Feet apart here, head up.
Yep.
Love his helmet.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
Hey.
So learning how to slide this Bromley sled over the last couple of seasons, it's a very different proposition to what he was used to. Now, our final slider in this first of 2 heats, 21-year-old Russian Yevgeny Rukashwev. We've seen him a few times over the last couple of seasons. He's not done a full competition yet. He's kind of super sub, if you like. Best result here was in the race in January, finished 15th.
Doesn't have the starts that we would see from the guy who's leading, the guys in the top 3.
Well, Daniel Romanov, fastest starter, 4.80. So Yevgeny starting 1900s back, but nice looking line into the Kreisel. Does he get some speed as a result?
Well, 5100s back. Good exit there. 11th best speed. So that 5100s are going to grow. 10th best speed, 75, 7800s back. A lot of it relative to the start. 64, didn't do bad on the bottom, Martin. Started picking it up a little bit. His race was over by the Chrysler.
Yeah.
11th.
400s out of the top 10, 300s out of the top 10. In fact, in 11th place at the end of the first heat.
Technique, knee hits first. I don't like that. Look at the way see the pressure goes in the back of the sled and the sled comes up. You know, I think you got to hit it so the sled doesn't vary like that, bounce around. You know, it's all about hundredths of seconds. Here, the exit of 9, this is pretty good exit there of 9. Doesn't skid across a little bit there, but start time.
Yep, that ain't helping. But the man with a third best start, but with the best record here, is Martin Stukors, and he leads after the first heat. Not by much, just 200s ahead of Daniel Romanov of Russia, with Matt Weston lying a strong third, but there is pressure from behind. John, this track, it's short. Everybody knows it well. Even the rookies now have had 2 weeks on it. And here's the result. 200s first to second, 400s third to fourth. Grotehair, Gassner, they're not out of it. Keisinger, if he has a burner, maybe there's a medal there. But beyond that, I don't think Thomas Stukors is going to be in the top 3. Florinau will be battling with Thomas, because he's a long way ahead of Ronald Arderset and Yevgeny Rokushwev. Then there's 600s, Geraskevich to Gaspari, and a few more tight little battles up and down the order. So 18 sleds started, we counted them out, we counted them in. They will go in reverse order in the second heat to decide the medals. And make a note of this, because they are on at 10:56 we start our broadcast. That's 09:56 GMT, and that is, just for reference, 04:56 Eastern. So John, put the coffee on. We'll see you in just under 45 minutes from now.
You got it.